Welcome to Suburban Artistry, where we make stuff. Today we're making a dinosaur claw from a 3D print into pewter.
Not something we've ever done before.
No, this is definitely a new experience, I think, for both of us.
We got the pattern from Jewel Pal on Thingiverse.
Thanks, Jewel Pal. As you can see, I have got a resin 3D printer. I like the quality of the print. Like, it comes out nice and smooth from resin.
Resin does have a different look.
Oh, but it stinks.
So this is the Photon Mono X. So we can get a little bit bigger.
This is drawn on my print.
So it's just to make sure I know where the middle point is so I can cover the clay underneath that point.
Is this clay that I can like bake in my oven? Can I throw it on the wheel? What is this?
This is a sulfur-free oil-based clay. So this is modeling clay.
So don't put it in the oven.
No, and don't put it on the wheel. Although I suppose you could kind of practice with it. It's reusable.
What did you think about using this kind of clay, doing this kind of stuff with it as a ceramic artist?
It was weird. I don't like oil-based clays as much because I don't like how it feels on my fingers. In college, we did this process using just regular clay and plaster, but it was similar.
Which do you prefer?
You know, it wasn't bad. I like that it's reusable. I like that I don't have to, like, you know, wrap it up in plastic and spray it down with water. This part did take me forever. This looks very quick, but this was over an hour of work to make sure everything was pressed in there and smooth, no cracks for the goo to flow through. And so yeah, a lot of hunching over.
It turns out that probably wasn't terribly important.
Which part?
The cracks for the goo.
Yeah, the goo ended up being really thick.
Really hard to pour.
I did a nice big sprue. I figured that would make it easier and faster to pour.
We've been wanting to get it into casting for a while.
Yeah, this is a process we've been wanting to get into for a while.
There's not a whole lot of specialty equipment for this one. If you want to melt something more substantial, aluminum, steel, you're gonna need something hotter than what we end up using.
Yeah, we're doing the low temperature stuff with just easy, accessible kind of tools.
Really kind of going whole hog there, huh?
You gotta seal the corners. Otherwise, the silicone's gonna seep out.
Oh, look at that. I wonder who gave you the idea to use a headphone cord to create a vent.
It was brilliant. I was stumped. I didn't know what to use.
You could have done what everybody else does and just cut it afterward.
I wasn't sure how hard the silicone was gonna end up being. By the way, this is Mold Max 60, the high temperature stuff, and it was very thick, especially this first jar we used. We'll make it look easy, but I had cramps in my hands from stirring through this.
It looks thick. We should point out it is an epoxy though, right? So eventually it'll cure on its own, but the liquid stuff makes it cure faster. Maybe it just has been sitting around for a while.
Which would make sense. But it was a lot harder than I was expecting it to be. We opted for pouring it slowly instead of, we don't have any vacuum, and we didn't do the brush dab to try and make sure there weren't.
We weren't gonna need to worry about the air bubbles, especially with this thing.
It just adds to the roughness.
Yeah.
But look at that goop just getting all over the place.
Yeah, probably not something that you want to do inside.
Yeah, the fumes were bad too, and I'm glad I had the tape smeared it over like brownie batter.
This is a trip that we took up to Dinosaur Ridge in Morrison, Colorado. It's not terribly far from Denver. It's kind of, half an hour drive?
Yep.
Kind of in the foothills. It's kind of right next to Red Rocks, in case anybody knows Red Rocks.
Yeah, just on the other side of the hill. Look at this beautiful view.
Looks like nobody lives here, but just on the other side of that hill is the city.
And so many dinosaur tracks, I would say footprints are their specialty. Why were they dark again?
They were dark because you can't really see them, unless you're right up on them. They paint them so that you can see them from a distance, so you're not climbing all over their walls.
It is really cool to get outside and see this in the natural environment instead of a museum.
Yeah, dinosaurs don't come inside very often. It looks like they walked right up a wall. It looks like they walked right up a wall, but really, it was flat.
And every trip also deserves a visit to the gift shop.
Also got a museum, but the museum, you gotta buy a ticket. The gift shop is free to go into.
We only did the free stuff today. I liked that claw down there.
There's some bugs in amber. Maybe we can start our own dinosaur cloning.
I want to make some jewelry with it.
Dinosaurs.
And I had to take a shot of this sign.
Because corporate happens.
So it's all cured up, time to see how it turned out. I was so nervous at this point.
And it looks pretty good, but not really gonna know until we've done the second part, right?
Yeah, we have to keep everything in until we have done the other half.
Clean it up.
That was stuff that was stuck to the upper parts of the walls from that thick goo.
Cleaning it with, what is it, an alcohol swab?
Yeah, I want to make sure no clay is sticking anywhere. It's a little hard to tell. And back on with the tape, try to make it as tight as possible, but again, the screws or clamps would have been a better idea. And I need to reseal it.
Reseal it, seal it.
Just smearing that through, making sure the second layer can't get through. I've seen lots of people do this with hot glue, but this is what I knew from college.
Do you think Seal would use the clay to seal it?
If he ever needs to cast a dinosaur claw.
Or would he use a kiss from the rose?
He's rich, he'd use whatever he wants.
Pay somebody else to do it.
Basically. And then I needed to put the sprue back in.
What you spraying there?
Sealant. No, not sealant.
Release?
Release.
Sealant.
The release makes sure the silicone won't stick to silicone.
So what you're saying is the release, make sure that it releases?
Did you hear I almost said silicone?
Silicone. I give that my seal of approval.
It's so bad. All right, now we
Take it
can
out, take
actually
it out.
see. and very pleased. The second half is way better.
What you doing there with that knife, bro?
There was a little bit of seepage underneath. I probably needed to... actually, I'm not sure I could have done anything to prevent that. And here's some cornstarch. I've seen people use it successfully, so cross my fingers because I couldn't find any talcum powder anywhere. All the baby powders are just cornstarch now anyway, so figure, run with it.
Why can't you use the release?
I don't know.
Is it flammable?
I don't know.
We may have to find out.
I don't know that we should. With this glorious ice cream sandwich. All right, thrift store shopping. Disclaimer, from a thrift store, you don't know exactly what you're getting.
You may be picking up things that are labeled as pewter. They may even have a pewter stamp or hallmark or whatever on it. Sometimes when you think you're buying pewter, you're actually buying aluminum.
Or some type of pewter that has lead in it, or it has something in it that makes it melt at a higher temperature. For working on a hot plate here, we need something that's a pretty low temperature. And this barely did the job.
It did it well enough, right?
This was a great way to get into it though. It was from the thrift store, $5 for the cast iron pot, and like less than $20 for the 3 pieces of metal I tossed in there.
Yeah, but how many pieces of metal did we buy first?
Yeah, but we learned what not to get. Check the surface, check the color, check the softness.
Hit it with a hammer.
Scratch the bottom with a key in a way that's not really damaging it. If it's not super, super soft, you have the wrong stuff.
So this pour went well.
Yeah, the first 2 though were a disaster. The first one, the pan was really heavy, lost my balance.
What you mean is you missed.
No, I didn't have a good enough grip. And the second one, the tape got really hot in the sun and had stretched out, so it leaked out the bottom. This one I stuck in the fridge, so look, it came out perfect.
It also sat for a while before you actually started touching it, because the pour is at like 500 degrees. Yep. Give it a chance to rest before you start touching it.
15 to 20 minutes, and it's a really good idea to have some leather gloves. I use those same gloves for taking stuff out of the kiln. So here's my jeweler's saw. This is from college too. This frame has a tiny little saw, and it is designed to cut through metal, usually thinner than this, but this did the job. It took a while.
Is it one of those spirally blades?
It's not spirally. It has the little teeth, but they're very small. So you just vertically up and down, and with not too much effort, it will cut through. It's sitting on a bench pin. That V shape is perfect for bracing them.
Now, normally you wouldn't want to sand pewter, you polish pewter, but the patina on there is like a nice coppery gold.
It was so beautiful.
And the sprue cut was glaring silver.
It needed to blend.
So you get to see me using a Dremel for this purpose. But yeah, if you're gonna use a Dremel, safety first, goggles, respirator, yada yada.
Do it outside.
Do it outside. Cleaning up the parting lines because, you know, it needed it.
Luckily, we didn't have too much. Our second attempt had huge material sticking out on the sides.
Yeah, it looks like this is sped up, but no, that's actual speed. I'm just that fast.
Don't let him lie to you. This was like an hour of sanding and grinding, right?
About an hour. But I made it pretty.
And you didn't use water.
No, I used WD-40.
Which I hadn't thought of.
It keeps the dust down, which is nice, but you can see it makes a huge freaking mess.
But nice that you weren't breathing that in instead. Everything else can get washed off.
Yeah, don't breathe this.
This is out on our balcony on a folding table.
And there's the final buddy.
In some nice lights. Imagine you're in the movie.
Try to show a little respect.
And look how similar the two pieces came out.
And that's kind of what you expect with a cast and a mold.
I'm just glad that it worked out well.
It worked! Our first attempt.
And it also has me hyped up for the new movie.
New movie is out today.
Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe.